You see, Israel's pretending that they have a legitimate right of self-defense. They're saying we have a right of self-defense, that an imminent threat exists. That there's two things, though. One, in 2004, the International Court of Justice has addressed this very issue. And what they said is Israel has no right to articulate a right of self-defense under Article 51 because a occupier can never claim self-defense against the occupied. Right. Even in the case where there's necessity, they cite the necessity. You can't cite necessity to protect yourself from a threat that comes from within the scene of the crime. And occupied Palestine is a scene of a crime. Israel is an open violation of numerous international laws. So Israel can't cite international law to defend itself from its violations, ongoing violations of international law, even if it's in regard to this. So Israel can sit here and say, oh, there's a terrorist there, It doesn't matter. Israel is the criminal enterprise. Israel is the nation that's violating international law. And it doesn't excuse, and again, I wanted to make this point. If you
who are they to say leave? I mean, you could flip the script and say, hey, Hamas told you to leave. You didn't. So yeah. They can just kill your civilians?
But again, let's just talk about the civilians that are dying here, because what Hamas did on October 7th was not a terrorist action. It was a well-coordinated, professionally executed military operation with clearly defined military purposes, and they've lured Israel into the ambush that they've been setting. The fighting that's going on in Gaza right now is going in accordance to the Hamas plan, not the Israeli plan. But the thing is, when Hamas took down the wall and came in, their initial story, look at these guys. These are the highly trained guys wearing uniforms. They have boots. They have uniforms, they have identifying marks, etc. They don't go around haphazardly killing people. They went in with specific targets in mind. If they took out a location, it's because they received resistance. These are the guys that when they
they knew exactly where to go and how much time was on the clock.
But behind them came another wave of armed people. Some of these were because Gaza, it's not just Hamas in Gaza. There's also the Palestinian Islamic Jihad. They're also well disciplined, organized, a little bit more crazy, but they're there. But then you have a whole bunch of offshoots. You have the territory. It's like gangs. You have these gangs of people from the neighborhood. I come from the corner of 5th and 3. We're the 5th and 3rd Lions of Israel. Hey, the Lions of Israel. No training, just guys with...
Israel has the same thing with the gangs among settlers.
Yeah, and so these guys looked at the hole in the wall, and they came in. These are the people who did looting. These are the people who did murder, because they did come in and they killed innocent Israeli civilians. I say innocent. They killed Israeli civilians. You ain't innocent if you live in a kibbutz. I'm just telling you right now, you're not innocent.
Look, if you break into someone's house, they can shoot you dead just for coming into someone's house to steal something. Now, imagine stealing the entire house. Under our law, you can kill that person. I mean, they're all thieves.
I'm not defending what happened with these. I'm trying to say that Hamas did not do half the crap that they've been accused of doing. First of all, a lot of those people who died in that outdoor rave,
the music festival,
is a crossfire between Hamas and Israeli forces. There was a lot more resistance going on. The vast majority of the people that were there were either active duty soldiers on leave, or they were recently released from the military. But these are military-age people out there. Many of them had guns. There was a lot of shooting going on, a lot of crossfire going on, a lot of confusion going on. And again, we need to be careful about the stories that people say about Hamas throwing grenades. Did they? Maybe. Probably. But also keep in mind that the Israeli Defense Force came in and started throwing grenades and started shooting places up with tanks. A lot of indiscriminate fire going on. These, again, are conscript soldiers who were put together, and there was a handful of elite units that responded, as a unit. Shaldag came in, the Sayat Matkal came in, other groups, and they took heavy casualties, by the way. But they were responding, but they were responding haphazard. There was no plan. Israel didn't have a plan. People are just running to the sound of gunfire, shooting anything that moves. Hamas was coming down the road. Absolute panic. Absolute panic.
There's video of that south of Ashkelon, which is not where the music festival was. That was in the east, of IDF soldiers using civilian cars full of people that they're hiding behind and shooting at Hamas.
Yeah,
using actual human shields. They're guilty of everything they accuse their enemies of. They've done themselves.
And all the stories about. I mean, please, people, understand. Look, go back to World War I when the Germans marched through Belgium. What they were accused of. Bayoneting pregnant women. I mean, literally, they're taking the script from World War I about slicing babies out of the belly. This whole story about how Hamas came in, a family eating, gouged the eye out of the father, slit the belly open of the mother, cut off the fingers of the kid, and then sat down and eat. Eat the meat. Bullshit. 100% bullshit. None of that's true. They cooked a baby in the oven. Really? Show me the goddamn baby. What I bet happened is that a mother, in a panic, hid the baby in the oven. Didn't turn on the oven. Hid the baby in the oven. She might have been killed. The Israeli forces came in, fired a tank round into the building, set the building on fire, and they burned the baby alive in the building. We cannot give the Israeli Defense Force a pass here. These are panicked conscripts. They're not very good at what they do. If they went up against a real military, they get their butts handed to them that quick. These aren't.
Have you seen all Have you seen all the mistakes they're making now that they've gone in? Let me explain. Let me get a map here for everybody. So Gaza's got these 5 zones, and so there's Khan Yunis. That's the first place they tried to go in the south. That didn't work at all. They got lit up. So then they decided to go just south of Gaza City, where it's actually not an urban center. It's an agricultural zone. They have to grow food somewhere. So on all flanks of Gaza City, northeast and northwest, there's room for tanks and things to go through. They're not going to get caught with the stuck in the rubble that they've made. So they're like, oh, look, you said it was impenetrable. They're in there now. Not really. They're just in open fields, and they're getting hit with grenades, and they're losing things. They flipped over a tank themselves today. They did one yesterday, too, up north. No, not fighting anyone. They just don't know how to drive. Ran into a ditch, flipped it over. One guy died. The other one, they were trying to get on some sort of truck, and they went over too far and flipped it over. They're all bunched together. They're lucky they're not at a peer-to-peer fighting force because they're making so many mistakes.
You saw the drone drop the grenade on the group of guys that were all I'm sitting there going, what are you guys doing?
5 feet to the left, and they would have got them all.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm sitting there going, why aren't you in individual fighting holes on the perimeter looking out? Why are you concentrated in the middle? What the hell kind of amateur?
That is basic modern warfare. I'm a civilian, and I know this just from covering Syria and Ukraine. You can't all group together like that.
Did you see?
You have to spread out. You have to be there, and there should be bulwarks or a barrier or something, because drones can drop a grenade on you. Someone could spray you all with a machine gun, whatever. Like,
did you see the RT footage? RT got a guy down into the tunnels.
I have seen some footage of the tunnels from RT.
Well, I mean, this is the new. He went in like yesterday, filmed it. They have Hamas assault squads moving around, wearing Israeli defense uniforms with Israeli defense. I mean, it's 5 guys who look just like the Israelis. And I looked at that and I went, because somebody had sent me a video yesterday that showed 6 Israeli soldiers captured, tied up, being interrogated, filmed by Hamas. But the Hamas guys were all wearing Israeli uniforms. And I'm like, but then I saw that Hamas has gone in there. They have a couple videos that show them they've immobilized a Merkava tank, and they've immobilized one of the infantry fight. They've captured the infantry inside. That Hamas actually went in there and snatch the guys. You know, Hamas is popping up out of holes all over the place. They're destroying tanks. They just killed a battalion commander. This ain't going the way the Israelis want it to go. And
they got a whole transport vehicle. All 12 of them are dead.
And the deeper you go, the more vulnerable your logistics become. And as you said, they're fighting in open terrain right now, or in undamaged, built up areas outside of the main area. When they get into the places they bombed, when they realize that their tanks can't go down the streets because of the rubble they've made, they will be walking into predetermined ambush points by Hamas, who are smarter than the Israelis are. And it's going to be a bloodbath. There was somebody panicking on Telegram, Israel's in the center of Gaza. It's over. I said, Israel is on top. The battlefield is below. Israel ain't in control of what's happening below. This is the end of the...
They haven't even reached the rebel edge, and all they've done is position themselves flanked on two sides with walls on top of that. They only have one exit point, which they're going to cut that off right away. Oh, we can see you from the sky. Yeah, light a couple tires on fire. Now it's all black. You don't see anything. Low tech beats high tech sometimes.
Well, the other thing is Israel is very good at dropping bombs on civilian targets.
They can do that.
But when Hamas brings the fight to you, for instance, you have your battalions deployed into an Israeli battalion, and Hamas is coming up from tunnels within your perimeter or close to your perimeter, and they're hugging you. There's no air support. No air support's going to help you. At that point in time, they've negated this. Now it's a man-to-man fight, and the Israelis suck at man-to-man fighting. The Israelis don't. Here's the secret to this war. The Israelis are scared to die. They don't want to die. These are scared boys, literally scared boys. Hamas, they got nothing to live for except killing Israelis. And so they are going to be aggressive in the fight. They're not suicidal, but they're when the bullets go off, the Israelis are going to duck down, hide. They're going to cower. Hamas is going to aggressively move forward. Yeah, some of them are going to get killed, but they're going to aggressively move forward and bring the fight to you. This is not an equal fight.
I was talking to a Canadian soldier, Jeremy McKenzie. He said, when those bullets start going and your heart rate goes up to 145, they're going to panic. They're not well trained. They're going to panic. They're going to cower. And Hamas has been sitting here thinking about this all year
long.
And after all this suffering, all this bombing, hospitals, churches, mosques, apartments, everyone there hates you. Everybody, every citizen in Gaza is going to be Team Hamas. They have eyes and ears everywhere. Oh, there's some over here. There's a tank over here. They're going to have perfect information, and they're going to get wiped. Now, they did some war games because they were actually more worried about Hezbollah. I think they should have been worried about Hamas as well. I think it was Firm Hand or Stern Hand or something like that.
Firm Hand, yeah.
Yeah. And it was the most recent, but they did, and there was another one, the Straits of Fire or whatever. And they lost in both. And they lost in both without even, that was with no scenario fighting Hamas. That was just fighting Hezbollah. We have a lot of talk. I'll get your opinion on this rush before you go. The leader of Hezbollah will probably most likely speak after Friday morning prayers. There's a lot of pressure, even though it's probably not in their interest, and Hamas can handle this, but there is a lot of pressure to say you need to enter the war. Yemen seems to be, or partly entered the war. They're firing ballistic missiles. Israel, I'm going to point this out for everybody because for the time's sake, because Richard's got to go soon. The Iron Dome, not very effective against real missiles anyway. Did a prior interview with Ted Postal, an actual rocket scientist. It can stop these Qassams and Katyushas and things that are so slow. Like a 5% success rate against real missiles from a short distance. But it won't matter even if it was, because they're running out of ammo.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I don't know how much they have left. 3,000 shots or something. Hezbollah has over 100,000 missiles, not rockets, missiles. They can overwhelm them. They could take out Haifa. They could really do some damage. Of course, economically, Lebanon and Syria can't do a protracted war. But I don't think it would be such a long, protracted war when they have no defense against these missiles. Talk about the I guess, lack of plan, or whether you think they have just a bad plan, or what is Israel doing halfway into Gaza, 1 foot in the grave, knowing that in a couple days Lebanon could enter the war, which they can't even take on in all their war games exercises one-on-one?
Look, right now Israel's got 300,000 troops surrounding Gaza. Up in northern Israel, they got 70,000 troops. As you pointed out, if Hezbollah gets involved, it's game, set, match. It's over. It's going to be over in a matter of days. The Iron Dome. This isn't 2006 where Hezbollah is firing Katyusha rockets and unguided rockets, and they overwhelmed the Israelis then. They've done a program, precision guided missile program. Iran has been providing them with this. They have 200,000 rockets and missiles. 100,000 are the unguided old stuff that they're just going to fire the first day, just get it all out there and have Iron Dome shoot its load, and then there will be nothing left. And then they have 100,000 that will literally go through the window of the car designated to hit. They're that accurate. And Israel's a small country, and when you eliminate the open space, it becomes even smaller. These 100,000 missiles in the course of several days will eradicate Israel as you know it today. All government targets will be taken out. All commercial targets will be taken out. All military targets will be taken out. Not only that, but Hezbollah has been building tunnels of its own. And at the appropriate time, around 20,000 Hezbollah assault troops are going to come screaming out of these tunnels, while another 80,000 come in the hills, and they're going to swamp these 70,000 Israeli defenders. And these 70,000 Israeli defenders are going to die, surrender, run away. They're not going to stand and fight heroically. There will be no Alamo here because they don't have the balls to do this. And it's over. At that point in time, Hezbollah will take northern Israel. They will take Israel down to the Sea of Galilee if they want to. And there's nothing Israel can do to stop it because all their forces are here. You can't mobilize.
The poetic justice if northern Israel got annexed.
Yeah, well, we'll find out. That would be, interesting. But my point is they can do this. Now, the question is, will they do it? And here's the thing. A statement was made the other day by Hezbollah, yesterday, in fact, that said, we will intervene if Hamas is on the verge of destruction. But Hamas has made it very clear that they're in control, that, we don't need your help. We don't want your help. We're winning this thing on our own right now. We appreciate the Houthi coming in, but we got this under control. The Israelis are not winning this fight. That's Hamas's position. So I would be surprised if on Friday, Nasrallah orders the full-scale assault. If I were Nasrallah, I would order the full-scale assault on Friday, because Israel's never been this weak ever, and they will never be this weak again.
They don't seem to be trying to de-escalate because they bombed Egypt, Lebanon, and Syria all in one day.
No, but it's controlled escalation. I mean, look, the United States and everybody knows what's going on. Israel is.
The U.S. has been calm. Their bases got attacked and they didn't react. They seem like they're trying to de-escalate behind the scenes.
What we're doing is managed escalation, where it's managed fight. We're going to throw a punch. You're going to throw a punch, but we're not pulling the pistols. So Israel's going to be given some latitude to be seen as defense. For instance, a lot of people have died right now on the Lebanese border. A lot of Israeli soldiers have died. A lot of Hezbollah fighters have died. This is not insignificant fighting, but they haven't crossed that threshold. And I think that we're going to see a gradual escalation of that fight to keep it just below the threshold, just so that because Hezbollah has a political problem. This is the moment they've always been saying, we're all about the Quds, we're all about Al-Aqsa, we're all about the Palestinians. And now here's your chance. They're slaughtering the Palestinian civilians. Right now, there will never be a better chance than Friday to take Israel off the face of the map. It can be done. Israel is in the weakest position it's ever been right now. They cannot prevail in combat. The best gift you can give to Israel is allow the Gaza thing to peter out so that they get a ceasefire, because Israel will eventually agree to a ceasefire. And when that happens, you go back to status quo ante, which is a defeat for Hamas, to be honest. Hamas wins only now. You can only win if there's if a Palestinian state emerges from this, and that can only happen with the strategic defeat of Israel, and that's not going to happen by Hamas alone. Hezbollah must come in, backed by Iran. Now, I'm supposed to be Mr. Peace, and I'm supposed to look for the peaceful solutions, and I prefer that. I don't want people.
They had a bunch of off ramps that they didn't take.
But right now, to be honest, as a military guy, I'm just sitting there saying, now's the time to execute the biggest war plan you ever had in your life to take Israel off the face of the map. Now, it'll stop before that, but as you said, it would be nice to see Israel lose northern Israel. It would be nice to see the Syrians gain the Golan Heights.
Their own land back.
Yeah, it would be nice to see Gaza connected with the West Bank by regaining control of the Negev desert territory that was always theirs to begin with. And it would be nice to see political Zionism put in the grave. I believe in the right of the existence of an Israeli state. I believe that
sure. They got to throw Netanyahu under the bus and his terrorists.
They got to throw all the right-wing parties under the bus. It's the day of political Zionism being allowed to dictate outcomes. Israeli exceptionalism is over. Israelis aren't exceptional. They're humans just like all of us. Israelis have a right to exist.
You mean God's not a real estate agent? We're coming up on the anniversary. I'm a day ahead of you because I'm in Korea. Tomorrow be the